I actually wanted to make some points on this military situation. This issue with the MiG-29s is pretty absurd. The fact that this is playing out in public is comical. Somebody should be able to pick up a phone or fly to Poland and resolve this issue and get Ukraine planes. Yes, this should have happened behind closed doors, obviously, but it didn't. And now we have to deal with the consequences. The consequences should not include Ukraine not getting these absolutely essential aircraft. There is a clear rationale. Ukraine needs them to defend their airspace against a violent, unprovoked attack. There isn't a real fear of escalation. Andrei Kozyrev, the guest that you had on, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, wrote a really interesting and poignant thread on this, that the Russians are not suicidal. They're not interested in it. And I also need to tell you that, this is an indication of really probably a deeper issue with how this war is being managed by the White House and by the Pentagon to a certain extent. If this is the stuff that's playing out in public, it is not a good sign about what's going on behind closed doors. Yes, we've managed to get 17,000 missiles over to Ukraine. Those are the Stingers and the anti-tank missiles. That's all true. But those are things that were already in the pipeline to a certain extent. Now we are facing new challenges, and we're just too slow to respond to this developing situation. Ukraine is not going to be defeated. It's a question of how much people they lose, really. But they have the fortitude, and they have the missiles to defend themselves. They need more in order to avoid catastrophic civilian casualties. And that's in the form of these jets. That's in the form of unmanned combat aerial vehicles. And I'll tell you that these estimates that 95% of Russia's combat power is intact are also way off the mark. I know that we are now just adjusting our mindsets to where we are and what's unfolding on the ground with the expectation that Ukraine was supposed to fold. But if you just do some back of the envelope math, 127 battalion tactical groups, about 70 combat vehicles, not talking about support vehicles, that's about 7,000, over 7,000 vehicles. By OSINT, by people that monitor these things in the public domain, the Russians have lost more than 1,000 vehicles. That equates to much, much more than 5%. We just haven't caught up with the reality of how things are unfolding. We have a deliberate process. A lot of this stuff is satellite imagery to assess a battle damage assessment because we're not on the ground. But if you look in the open source community, you actually see a much, much more telling development, and it does not look as bad for Ukraine. It's just, this is a painful, drawn out war, and we could do something to help bring it to an end before it escalates, and we're not doing that.